Excuse me.
Up to 24 subscribers.
Let's go.
Is that where we've been? All right.
I will say, when you go from Twitch to YouTube, when you go live, it's so much faster on YouTube.
To go live?
Yeah, like you used to have to like wait a minute or two for it to like catch up. And on YouTube, man, I mean, it's like you hit go live and like bam, you're there.
Yeah, you better be ready because
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been able to kick this. Where are they now? It's all the draft. Holy cow, man! Loading.
I gotta send out a tweet real quick.
Yeah.
Something about this song I don't really like. It's almost like the guy's trying to sing, but he can't. Alright, we got the tweet. There it goes. Scatterbrain up in the building. It's kind of whiny, right? It is. Turn this shit off. I expect more from Tristram because he puts some good stuff out, and I don't know if that's him or just like some kind of sample that he had, but I gotta give that a big
Thumbs down.
That's a fail. That's a fail on that song. Don't ever do that to me again, Tristram. Okay. It's Wednesday already. Hump day.
You.
Oh man. Well, we got it popping off in the chat already, guys. We got some people in here. Welcome to the channel. Sideline Sport Talk, as always. Hater B, Ricky D, coming at you. If you guys aren't already, hit the sub button. Click the bell for the notifications. Follow us on all the social medias. We've been trying to keep up, man. It's been we're in. It's not like a lull. It's more like we're starting to wake up from hibernation, if you will, in the sports world. You know, the good stuff is coming, and the not so great stuff is on its way out. And now it's kind of the good stuff because it's the playoffs and NBA. But yeah, it's been a good week. How was your week, man? Because my weekend was insane. So let's talk about you first.
My weekend, or I mean my week thus far?
You know what? You talk about whatever you want in the last 7 days that I missed out on.
Well, I mean, when we shut it down last week, I tried to catch the other Bruins game, and it was not good. Bill, buddy, I'm not gonna say go Bolts because I'm not gonna root for your boys. I'm just not gonna do it. Hopefully the everything's working all right. Had to go different headphones today. But yeah, my Bruins are out. So that's a bummer. At least my Sox are still performing. The Red Sox are doing their thing. But trying to watch a little bit of basketball here and there and try to, I haven't really been excited this year. I think you and I have talked about this in the past. I haven't really been as excited for basketball.
I tried. I couldn't do it. I tried.
Yeah.
I mean, and I wanted to do the Magic thing this year. I wanted to do the Magic thing with you, and everybody got hurt.
Yeah, we had
So
it wasn't even a college team. I mean, we had an AAU and like a middle of the pack AAU team is what we had, you know. So we'll see what pans out there, but and we'll talk about the Magic a little bit later. I want to ask you a little something about that. But yeah, try to watch a little bit of these games and try to watch, KD's been going nuts. Tonight the Sixers and Hawks are playing, they're tied at 2 apiece. You know, it's just been kind of weird. I just haven't been able to get excited. And typically, even sports that I don't normally watch, on the regular during the regular season, I tend to watch the playoffs. I tend to get a little more excited about that. But for whatever reason, just haven't been able to, man. Just haven't been able
because
to
it
really get into it.
sucks.
So
That's why. Just
yeah,
let's cut through all the. It sucks. You
yeah,
know. Um.
but but overall, I mean, it's been a week. It's been a week. I have some stuff on the personal side that you and I have talked a little bit off camera that I get a little countdown. I'm starting some new stuff and come next week, so I'm excited about that. But closing out some chapters on some things now this week, and then I get to go away for the weekend with the little people and the family and the wife, and
Lucky.
yeah, we're gonna do a beach getaway and enjoy that, and then get right back on it on Monday and start up this new venture and hopefully everything kicks off with a bang.
I'm going out on the links on Sunday with the legend and my
Ooh,
brother. We're gonna go out to Kissimmee Bay and swing some sticks. If you guys ever want to
okay,
see a couple lefties playing golf, man, that'll throw you off when they're playing ahead of you because it looks like they're hitting the
yeah,
ball backwards. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, we'll be doing that. But back to basketball, there was a shining light that came out, and I think you and I will both agree on this
hmm
that LaMelo Ball winning Rookie of the Year was pretty awesome. And I mean, he won by a large margin. It wasn't even
yeah,
close.
yeah.
I think you and I have both said he is the best ball brother. I like
Oh,
this guy.
definitely,
I like this guy. I
definitely,
liked him
yeah,
since he was little. Not a big fan that he dropped out of high school. But you know what? It doesn't matter now. The guy's got more money than I'll ever have. So there you
yeah.
go.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that he's just kind of put his head down and decided to let his play speak for him.
Yeah.
His pops was out there going crazy and talking all that jazz. With the older, with what's his name, what's the other ball brother,
Yeah,
um,
LiAngelo, LaMelo, Lonzo.
Lonzo Ball. Yeah, when Lonzo Ball came out, he was going all nuts and everything, and talking all that crap. But I mean, he was just getting the name out there, and I guess I give him credit for that. But this young man came out here in first season, ball,
Broke his
no pun
wrist.
intended, but he balled out
Yeah.
and did his thing and played very well. Wasn't really flashy and going and making any headlines as far as anything negative. He just let his play do the talking, and he did great, man. So kudos to him.
Missed 21
Rookie of the
games
year.
with a broken wrist and still got rookie. He only played in 51 games. Um, they did post some highlights number wise. He did have a triple double. He had a 22, 12, and 11 game, which was pretty impressive. I mean, he had quite a few double double games, but the 20 plus games as a rookie, that's what I thought was impressive. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's got the look now. When he came into the league, he didn't have the look. Now he's got the look. He's kind of got the semi NBA hair with the little mustache and the thing, and he kind of looks like maybe he's been playing Euro ball. He's got the look about him. Okay,
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball, the Euro baller. I don't know, but congrats to him,
Yeah.
man. That's big time.
I think what we could do, Timmy, is in the spirit of the where are they now? I think what we should do is we should grab some names and folks in the chat can let us know who they might like to see, and we could put a little something together of the rookie year to where are they now looks.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
could do that
that would be
on the
sweet.
Instagram, and we can throw them on there because it's fun to watch these guys. I hear you talking about a little mustache and everything. You see some of these guys. I remember Dwight Howard coming in with braces. You
Mhm,
know, I don't know if you've seen Dwight Howard lately
mhm.
playing with the Sixers. He's got some crazy hair and he's a big dude now. Very different look. So those are always fun to see. The change in these guys when they're kids coming in and then becoming grown men.
Who's
So
that? Who's that
um,
center for the Pelicans? I think he's for the Pelicans. But, wow, what's his name? Oh my God, now it's gonna bother me. He's the guy
you're
that
talking about he used to be
Steven
with
Adams.
OKC.
Steven
Yeah,
Adams.
Steven Adams.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look
He
at
had
that
some of the
guy.
greatest, some of the greatest, into the league first year to now. I mean, I've
He
seen
looks
some of
like
that
an
stuff,
axe
man.
murderer now. Like that guy straight
Yeah.
up looks like he was in a biker gang and
Well,
used to eat.
I feel like he's the brother to what's his name on Game of Thrones.
Yes, the
Uh,
mountain.
well, him and the other guy that was what's his
Ooh.
name with all the tattoos? Jason Momoa.
Oh
You
yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
he's got that
Khal
that look,
Drago.
but but yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy how these guys change. A couple of little quick hitters. I want to get your thoughts on. Did you hear the story about if I can find my mouse? Um, where the hell is my mouse?
Right
That's a
click.
weird one. Hey man, I have two screens and it won't come over to my screen. There it is. The story about Vince Wilfork and his son and everything that happened there.
I've
So
not heard about
Vince
this.
Wilfork's son came out today. He's being charged with stealing $300,000 worth of his dad's jewelry, including his Patriot Super Bowl rings. How about that?
For what?
Right? First you get the call and it says, "Hey, you have some missing jewelry," and then you find out that it's your kid. Um, so yeah, I mean, he went ahead and stole the jewelry. I kind of saw the headline and I thought it was pretty crazy. Um, but yeah, I mean, how would you feel if you have something missing like that, and then you figure out it's your brother or something that just went out and jacked you for $300,000 worth of jewelry?
Well, and see, and it's tough when it's your son, when it's
Yeah,
your child, because obviously there's something going on in his life that's a little deeper than hey, I just want to steal this to steal it. Obviously, he was stealing
yeah,
it for a reason. Either he owes people money or he's got some kind of an addiction, and it's tough because you've got to figure out what that is first to find out
yeah,
if what he took really matters, because at the end of the day you can't put a price on someone's health, especially your own kid. I mean, Vince Wilfork
yeah,
would give up everything he had if it was
yeah.
what he has or his son's life. So
Right.
it's tough. It sucks. I mean, if it ends up being over some bullshit, like he got into it with some bookies or owed people money over some dumb
Yeah.
stuff he did, by all means, I mean, regardless, $300,000, I mean, that's grand theft if I've ever heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, I guess. And just reading up on the story a little bit, it looks like he found out through some fans who reached out to him and said, "Hey, man, I just I bought some of the Patriots memorabilia from your kid, and that's kind of how it was found out. But had a bunch of pieces. Looks like 8 other pieces were found, and collected. And I mean, I just thought it was pretty crazy. We talk about these guys and they're celebrities and they make all this money, and we talk about them when we do the Where Are They Now, and um, you know, you just never know what these people are going through, right? Like you said, I mean, it
Yeah.
might come out to be some crazy story behind it. Like you said, owed somebody big money and he's trying to figure out a way to do it to pay him back. But I just thought it was kind of a crazy headline to
Yeah,
see
I
that
mean, and I didn't mean to get
pop
so
up.
deep on you with that, but
No, no, it's just yeah. I mean, kind of a crazy one there that just popped up. Just kind of kick through these headlines
yeah,
pretty
that's a
quick.
that's
Did
a weird one.
over the weekend though? I know we were talking about how the weekend was. I did find myself watching something interesting, and I don't know if it's necessarily interesting, but I have kids, as you know, and I have teenagers, and they follow people on YouTube and whatnot. And one of the YouTubers that they follow is this group called the Ace Family, and I'm not sure if you've heard of them, but this guy, the dad in the family there, he's put on basketball games at Staples and sold them out with
Wow.
other YouTubers and other folks from platforms, whether it be TikTok or whatever the case may be. And they're very well off. And he put this weekend on a show in Miami at the Dolphins Stadium there, Hard Rock, and it was a boxing event, and it was YouTubers versus
Oh, I did hear about
TikTokers.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, so being that I have some teenage kids, there was also UFC happening that same night,
Yep.
and there was also some championship boxing happening that night. And here at our household, we ended up watching the YouTubers versus the TikTokers. And let me tell you, Tim, we've had the conversation in the past weeks, especially after we had Mayweather versus one of the Paul brothers here recently. We've had other, one of the Paul brothers was fighting, a UFC guy. Um, we talked about how boxing has kind of lost a little bit of its, luster, and how, you know, these exhibition fights are coming about. Well, let me tell you, this was a whole card full of exhibition fights. I mean, there was no
Yeah.
pros at all. It was entertaining as hell. Let me tell you.
I mean, it looks
One
like.
knockout.
Was there a
Yeah,
knockout? Okay. Oh yeah,
one
FaZe
legit
Jarvis.
knockout.
FaZe
Yeah,
Jarvis.
like my man, legit knockout. Um,
No, I think FaZe Jarvis. He was the one that got banned live when he was on Fortnite. He was a Fortnite streamer, I think, and he
he
got
was.
he
He's
got
yep,
banned
yep,
for cheating.
yep,
And
yeah, yeah.
so good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, my son was telling me about that. But yeah, I mean, it turned out to be a crazy card. They had DJ Khaled on there. They had Migos performing. I mean, he had quite the show put together. Let me tell you, a lot better than some of the crap that we've seen in the boxing scene. Here recently, and it just got me thinking of some of the conversations that we had. You know, is stuff like this hurting boxing? And I see that. Uh, in the chat, they're asking the same thing. And I know again we talked about it. It's almost like we're getting to the point now where people are going to start saying, "Hey, Timmy, let's just put the gloves on, me and you. Let's go in the ring and let's duke it out." And people are paying to watch it, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
You know?
It's a celebrity death match. It's that's what we're watching now. It's real life celebrity death match. And like I said, I think boxing needs all the help it can get. I think UFC has overtaken it now. The mixed martial arts world is just so much more fun to watch. Because you can talk about how great a Floyd Mayweather is, but at the end of the day, to me those fights were always kind of boring to watch. You know what I mean?
Right.
You knew what to
Right.
expect. You weren't, but there wasn't going to be any of those big oh moments. And
Right.
in the UFC, that can happen in any fight, no
Yeah.
matter who it is.
Yeah.
And that's what people want to see. They need. We live in a world of instant gratification, and that's what the UFC can give you.
Yeah, and I mean, they like I said, they went all out. They had Paige Van Zant, who's she was a UFC fighter in her own right. She was one of the commentators. He had a star-studded group
I
there.
saw Migos performed.
Yeah, Migos performed. He had a couple other artists on there. Some that were not great, but he did have that were known. He had I mean, it was pretty damn cool. And they went at it. Let me tell you, they went at it. I thought exhibition fight. Amateurs won't know how what the heck to do in there, but they were drawing some blood and hitting each other hard, and there was a legit knockout, like I said. Like you mentioned, FaZe Jarvis, he went out there and put it on him and put the kid on his behind and knocked him out. But turned out to be a heck of an event, and I think it was 6 fights overall. A couple of them were free for the first hour, and then after that, it was I think it was like $60 or something like that. And I mean, entertaining as can be. I kept tabs on UFC just to see. There was a 7-second knockout that night. Probably the fastest knockout in the history of UFC, and but still, I felt like this type of stuff is what's competing out there. In an age where social media is so big. You know, you can hear the kids in the audience screaming and hollering, and I mean that they're kind of moving the needle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And boxing just doesn't seem to get that same kind of, again, big crowd for Mayweather and one of the Paul brothers. It's not Canelo and somebody, yeah, a legit fighter. It's not even Manny Pacquiao anymore. It's I know we have Tyson Fury's he's gonna fight soon, but like you mentioned on there, but even those guys are just not quite moving the needle like some of these exhibition fights are doing, and,
Yeah.
and it's just interesting to see the dynamic there and kind of where we go with that, and to see. I know we had Chad Ochocinco fight on the undercard of the Mayweather fight. You know what I mean? So we're seeing these celebrities now get in there too, other celebrities jump in there. So interesting to see where it goes. Just want to throw it out there. I don't know if they'll ever do it again. They had Charlemagne the God or whatever his name is from the Breakfast Club. He was
I
kind of doing
can't stand
he
him.
was doing he was doing some of the interviews and he was doing some of the stuff kind of leading that whole operation. And he actually threw to one of the rappers. He said, "Man, these YouTubers and TikTokers, man, they're stepping up and they're fighting. What are you gonna do?" And the guy was like, "Hey man, we'll get in there. We'll get in there and fight." So maybe we'll start seeing some rappers get in there and start fighting, which I think can get a little dangerous
Yeah,
uh with those
that's
guys.
what I
But
really want to see.
but yeah, man, it was an interesting watch to say the least. I didn't know what to expect. Like I said, my kids really wanted to watch it, and so I sat there with them, and kind of a weird, father kid bonding moment, watching people beat each other, But hey, it's better than not having that opportunity to sit with them, I guess. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
So you
interesting
watched
watch to
boxing
say the
this
least.
weekend.
I did watch some boxing. I did watch some boxing.
I was I went to a bachelor party this weekend
Ooh, that's right.
with C
That's right.
Killa and the boys, and I tell you what, man, those young guns, man, those guys, they go hard, and I mean,
Was I'm sure it was a very fast, quick reminder that you are no longer, a
a young,
college,
yeah,
kid.
I'm not there. I mean, the thing, I need recovery time. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah,
thing is
yeah,
they don't need recovery time. It's just like
yeah,
we go all night. The sun comes up on Saturday, and I'm going to sleep, and they're, hey, we got to go day drinking. What are you doing? I'm like, no, no, no. You guys are
yeah,
going day drinking. I'm gonna clean the house and
yeah, yeah. Take a nap, and I'll see
yeah.
you at the afternoon festivities. In the evening.
But
Yeah,
it was a good time. We made it out of there, and I did find out that everyone's excited. I mean, you always get excited for a wedding, but
yeah,
it's always interesting on that. But I did see. I wanted to touch on, and I hate to talk about him because I feel like this is the whole reason he does it. But LeBron James slamming the NBA about
mm,
injuries this year and not enough time in between seasons and not enough
yeah,
rest time and all this jazz. Um, went on a Twitter rant talking about all these all stars that are hurt and people that can't play in the finals and this and that. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously, to me, it's like this was kind of a sacrificial year because of COVID and everything they had to do
right,
to make it happen last year.
right, right.
But
Yeah, there was always going to be kind of a weird season in between there because of the kind of trying to get back. And I mean, they did push the season last year and they had the bubble and they had their champion and whatnot, but it did end at a time where we were basically going to be mid-season,
right.
you know
And I think there was
so
bitching on the front end last year. Oh well, we're not
yeah,
going to play. We're not going to get paid. Blah blah blah. Everybody's bitching and whining. Okay, cool. Well, we'll put it together for you. They put it
yeah,
together, and then now the season's over. Well, we got to get ready to crank up next season because it's time.
yeah,
And I think it was 72 days between the end of the season and the beginning of the next season, which is I think the shortest ever of all the major sports. But I don't know, man. I just feel like it's not his place to whine about this. I mean, uh, he's basically trying to say, oh, we tried to tell you we're trying to do the best for the fans, blah blah blah. We don't have rest time in between playing a 7 game series and having to crank up another one.
yeah.
Nobody's
Oh, he didn't say
forcing
we.
your.
Yeah, he didn't say we. We were trying to tell you.
Yeah,
He said
I.
me. You
Yeah.
didn't listen to me. His tweet said that they all didn't want to listen to me
Mhm.
at the start of the season. So he's making it very clear that it's him that's saying it. And I've always had this thing about LeBron James. He's always wanted to kind of make it like he's the guy that um like he runs the show. You know what I mean? And I think to a certain extent, maybe he does have some pull because he's the most popular guy going in the NBA right now. But I don't think that he is definitely not like a Michael Jordan. Definitely not like a Kobe Bryant. Not he's not in that realm. Even though he wants to believe that he is, and I don't think it's I think partially there is some people out there that don't fully give him credit for his championships and kind of what he's done because of all the jumping around. I think that there's also a league where they're people are have their own favorite guy. How do I say it? I mean, there is quite a few superstars in the league now, whether they're great guy, stars or not, or greatest players ever. But there is plenty of superstars, and people have a choice of who they want to root for as far as these stars in the league. So he's playing at a different time where maybe back when Jordan was around, he could be the clear voice. Even with Kobe, he could be the clear voice. I think now people are like, "Shut up, bro. Just play
Yes.
ball." You know what I mean? Get out of here with this crap. I think it's also being seen as in your team didn't make it, so now you're whining and you're
Yep.
trying to put it off on you guys were injured and that's why you couldn't make it. You know, um, I mean, at the end of the day, my take on it because we kind of touched on it last week a little bit. I think that their championship should have an asterisk next to it for being in the bubble because I don't think that I think it was a different dynamic.
Right.
I mean, I think they're a good team when healthy, but I mean, I think they definitely can lose to just about any of these guys they lost to. I don't think it's a fluke that they lost to the Suns. I mean, the Suns are clearly a very good
Yeah.
basketball team right now. They're demonstrating that top to bottom, they have a bench, they have great starters, they have superstars, they have a little bit of everything. They have a coach who's very much able to lead those guys in Monty Williams, and they're doing their thing. So I don't think it's a fluke that they lost to those guys. But I just think it's him, kind of trying to deflect again from, this is why we lost, and here I am, me, trying to tell you, how it should be, and listen to me because I'm LeBron James, and I'm not gonna go as far as saying just shut up and dribble like other people have said, but you have your voice, you can use it, you have your platform, but to go out there, you know, go on this barrage of tweets is it's asinine.
Yeah, and I just my whole thing is like no like if you're gonna whine about that, then why aren't you taking time off during the regular season? You know what I mean? So like that was my whole thing. Like you're bitching about something that happened when the season started. How long ago was that? And you're blaming that
Yeah.
on why Anthony Davis pulled his groin a week
Hmm.
ago, like 6 months
Yeah.
later, or however long it was, and
Yeah.
blaming, oh well, Kawhi Leonard, tore his ACL because we only had 71 days off last year for this amount of time. Well, look at how much time you had off before that, though. Before the bubble, you were off longer than you had ever been.
Right.
So where's the I just again I think you're 100% right. I think he's deflecting. If he was still in the playoffs, he wouldn't be saying anything at all.
Not one
He
thing.
wouldn't care about anybody that
Not
got
one
hurt.
thing. Nope, he would be saying his tune would be, it's unfortunate that these guys are getting hurt, but we battled through this. We're trying to win a championship. We're trying to focus on what we have to focus on, and we wish those guys the best, but we're just gonna focus on what we need to make sure that we get over the hump. Blah blah blah, yada yada yada. But now he's not there, so now it's everybody's fault except for their own. Anthony Davis is a guy that hasn't been able to stay healthy. I like Anthony Davis. I like his game, but he's a guy that hasn't been able to stay healthy regardless of where he's played.
Yeah.
And this is not a short season issue for Anthony Davis. This is an Anthony Davis can't stay healthy issue,
Yeah.
just period. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean it is what it is. Yeah, I mean again, I won't go as far as saying shut up and dribble, but I just think that you need to just be careful before you hit send. On these messages.
I saw. So speaking of injuries, I saw a meme the other day that they had broken down how much time someone stayed on the ground based off of an injury, and they went off like I think some pitcher got hit in the head, like got a comeback or hit him in the head. And he was on the ground for like 20 seconds before he got back up.
Yeah.
A football player guy, I think he broke his leg, broke his femur or something, and was on the ground for like 34 seconds, and they were like, LeBron James catches a fake elbow to the head, and he was on the ground for like 45 seconds laying there, and it was like that right there explains to me everything I need to know about LeBron James.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, the guy wants attention.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just the way he's been. And for a guy that wants to talk about being so tough, he sure as heck has plenty of clips out there where he's barely getting touched and he's flopping around like a fish
Yep.
out of water and acting like he got shot. I mean, for crying out loud. And then he wants to go out there and put tweets like this. Just doesn't add up, LeBron. One thing
Yeah.
doesn't go with the other.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, I was playing 2K the other day, 2K21, And
Hmm.
one of the announcers actually said, LeBron James may not go 100% all the time, but when he does, he's great. And in my head, I go, did they just burn LeBron James on 2K, basically saying he doesn't play hard all the time? And it was, but I was like,
Man.
he's right, 100%. How does this guy know this?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, and you know what? That's just the sentiment, I guess, around, and they went ahead and decided, let's just go ahead and throw this in here real quick, and just
yeah,
just a little jab at him. You know what I mean? That could never go away. It's
good
always
for
gonna be
them. It's
here
gonna be there
now.
forever.
So yeah, yeah. But speaking about injuries and kind of a really crazy and sad situation. I'm sure you heard about it over the weekend. Was the player from Denmark who Timmy died on the field. Died on the field
What was he in soccer?
and yeah, and they brought him back. Thankfully, he's doing well. Um,
Oh, Christian Eriksen.
yeah,
Yeah,
Christian
yeah.
Eriksen was walking over to take a throw and just flat out collapsed. I mean, went to the ground and was out. I mean, it took me a while to find the video because stuff like that they typically
Yeah, yeah.
cut away from, and I while I wanted to see the video because I knew I wanted to talk to you about it, I was proud of the fact that I was having such a hard time finding the video. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it means that they were being sensitive to the situation and that they weren't just looking for clickbait and hey, let's just blast this thing all over the place. So I was proud of that. But I did, however, obviously it's still the internet. You're gonna find something if you search hard enough. I did find a video where you can see, kind of how it all goes down, and you can see him go right down to the ground, and you can see the players, the captain of the team, asked the players to kind of build, like a
Build a
shield
wall.
around them,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And but even through like their legs and everything, you can see the doctors working on him. You can see somebody behind him like giving him CPR. I mean,
Damn.
I'm watching a replay. I'm not watching it live,
Yeah.
and I'm like freaked out by it. I can't imagine what those guys were feeling on the field. Some of those guys, were turned, had their back towards the situation, and weren't looking. Were just there to provide, the wall. Other guys were watching, and you can see it in their face how distraught they were. But crazy, crazy situation. The team doctor, came out afterwards and said that he did confirm that when they got to him, he was dead. He was
I
out,
tell you what, they better give
and
that guy a raise. Whoever saved that
yeah,
dude,
and
man.
they give him CPR, and they had to use the what I
The
struggle with the word
paddles.
sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
defibrillator, whatever it is. They had to use it once, and they were able to bring him back. But the captain of the team recognized immediately what happened. He turned him on his side. He made sure that he wasn't like gonna swallow his tongue or something
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty crazy to see. Um, and man, I saw a tweet from him actually yesterday from the hospital saying that under the circumstances, he's still undergoing some testing and whatnot, but that he's feeling good and that he's doing all right. And obviously looked, full of life and in good spirits from the hospital bed.
Did
But
they
what
figure
a
out what happened?
crazy situation. Haven't really said anything yet. A cardiac arrest was what they said, that he went into cardiac arrest,
He was going
and
hard, man. His heart just couldn't keep up.
yeah, man. But hey, this is just a reminder, right? You gotta, not to get too cheesy on everybody, but you do have to live your life to the fullest, because here's a supreme athlete by all accounts, right?
Yeah.
Who's out here, in the best shape of his life. He plays for like a high end team, a Premier League team, or whatnot. So he's in the greatest shape of his life, and here he goes and literally just kills over. And
Man.
if not for the quick response from teammates and team doctors, and kudos to those guys for having legit guys on the sideline.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who could have
Yeah.
died,
Yeah.
or did die.
He
you
did
know?
die. Yeah, and they brought him back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very rare. I mean, if you look at the percentage of amounts of time that CPR is done on someone that's unresponsive, it's not very high that they're able to be
Yeah.
resuscitated compared to the times that they're not, able to. So
Yeah.
kudos to the medical team, man. I mean, that's big time, because I mean, you're going to be that guy forever that saved that dude,
Yeah.
So
It's unbelievable situation there. So They did stop the game for about 90 minutes or so. They did bring the teams back out there. It's the UEFA um, or the Euro tournament, and Denmark did lose, unfortunately, 1-0. I mean, I heard somebody say, "There goes the Disney ending," and sure enough, there goes
Mm.
the Disney ending. But overall, just happy to hear that Ericsson is doing well, and it seems to be in good spirits and bouncing back. So wish him all the best, man. Hopefully, he bounces back really well from that and can get back on the pitch soon.
So let's jump
So
into one of the fighters in UFC got his arm dislocated and it was bouncing around before they stopped the fight. Yeah, that's UFC, man. I've
yeah,
seen worse.
I saw that. I saw that, and Bill, let me tell you, I saw the replay of that. I've never seen somebody so damn calm having their arm
Yeah,
jacked up like that,
yeah.
and he's just kind of casually sitting there, like, "Oh, you're stopping the fight? Oh, okay,
It's probably
all
happened
right,
before. He's
yeah."
just kind of like, yeah,
you
pop it
know,
back into place.
and, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy to see that. So, yeah, definitely. And that's part of the reason why UFC is taking over, because those guys are going through all that and they're still performing
Yeah.
and they're still going hard every night. And that guy, as soon as his arm is right, will ask Dana White to get back into the octagon. And he's not going to chase, or run away from anybody. And that's why UFC, circling back to that, is it's slowly taking over from boxing, on the contact sport. So yeah, man, that was a crazy sight too. Crazy, crazy one
So
there. So
I did see something in PGA where they're talking about banning green reading books. Did you hear about this?
hmm oh,
Uh,
I saw the headline through it, and I saw that Rory McIlroy is a proponent of it. Apparently, he seems to be on the side of this. But what you got?
well, I thought it was interesting because it's they've been using these for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I'm all about it. Because it's like when I go out this Sunday, I'm not going to have some book showing me how the greens are breaking. And I think we've always given a lot of respect to golfers when they hit, with their short game and say, man, how did he hit that putt? It's something I could never do. They got a book showing them how it's breaking, man. It's not even. I mean, I don't know. I'm a proponent of. I know that Bryson DeChambeau is like a hardcore user of his green book, and I'm so pumped when they ban this because I'm becoming not a fan of him. So
well, and it's funny you say that, because that's what I was gonna say. Is it almost seems like the PGA over the years, as Bryson DeChambeau has garnered more attention, and become more popular, it almost seems like the PGA has made some changes that are, you know, against Bryson DeChambeau. Am I crazy for thinking that? Hey,
hey,
you can't use this putter, you can't use this stance, or you can't use the green book, you can't use this, you can't use that. Um, it seems like, I don't know. And there's a lot of people that feel a lot like you, not big fans of Bryson DeChambeau. So, um,
so yeah, so that's been going on. And what else? I did see, who was it? Chase Harrell from the 49ers got suspended for the entire season. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
He
What did
he got suspended originally for 6 games for using
Okay.
performance enhancing drugs, and
Mm,
then the 49ers I think waived him in April, and now they're bumping it up to the full season. So he got waived, was a free agent, wasn't with the team at all, and then they're like, you can't play this year.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
hey,
Huh. All right. Well, I mean, Timmy, I know we want to give the folks what they came here for. The where are they now? We have a really good class for this one, the 2003 NBA draft.
yeah,
We've already talked about one of the guys in that draft a little bit here today, but um, we talked about if we were going to take a break or not this week from it earlier in the week when you and I were kind of texting back and forth, and I said, "Are you kidding me? This is finally we get a legit class. This is the one we got to
this is
go
the
for."
one we
So,
want.
yeah, and then afterwards, after we go through these top 10, I do want to get your take on a couple other things. With some coaching updates coming up. There's also I did see a Netflix special,
Ooh,
or a documentary a couple days ago that I want to get your take on as well,
okay.
and that has to do with college athletics and things of that nature. Um, definitely have heard about this story, but we'll bring it up after Where Are They Now? And then I do want to ask you one kind of crazy thing. We were talking about Christian Eriksen and him, having his unfortunate situation over, on the pitch and like legit dying and being brought back to life. I did hear something that I thought was pretty funny at first, and then the more I thought about it, the more I thought this guy may have a point. And I want to get your take on this guy and to see if he has a point or not. But without further ado, we need some sound or something for this.
I got it. Let me see.
We need to figure it out.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh, by the way, Michael Buffer.
Yeah.
Was at the YouTubers versus TikTokers.
Was he? Oh, that's awesome.
He did the main event. That's again to show you how much the guy put.
Was his brother working that night too? Was Bruce working that night too?
Yeah, man, because UFC was on.
Dude,
I mean,
that's the statistic we need to find. When's the last time the two of them worked on the same night?
The Buffers were raking it in that night. They were making it.
Talk about being a proud dad right there.
I tell you, man. But where are they now? Class of 2003 NBA draft was a loaded one.
It was pretty impressive.
And I'm going to jump right into it, Timmy.
Yeah.
The first overall pick
in the NBA time on this one.
Year, I mean, it wasn't really hard to find stuff for these guys. You know what I mean? Because they're all quite famous. LeBron James, first overall pick.
I've heard of him.
We talked about the Whiner a little bit already today. I'm sorry I said that.
Let's talk about the good stuff though. Let's talk about the good stuff.
Yeah. So LeBron James, I kind of put the same type of notes for everybody. 36 years old, came out of high school, directly out of high school when you could still do that. St. Vincent St. Mary High School, and obviously was the number one pick to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Has spent 17 years in the league, Timmy. I think that we no longer, I'm starting to feel, and I hate to admit this, sidebar, not as impressed with Tom Brady anymore with his longevity, because I feel like guys across the board in every league are starting to last, 17, 18, 19, 20 years. You know what I mean? It's just becoming a thing now. So unless, Tom Brady plays for, 30 years, 25 to 30 years, I don't know how impressive it's really going to be.
I mean, it's possible. But, he could go the distance.
Yeah, he sure can. So he's been in the league for 17 years now. He's played for 3 teams throughout his career. LeBron James played obviously with the Cavs, who drafted him 2 stints with the Cavs.
2 stints, yeah.
With the Heat, with the Lakers now, and he's been a 4-time MVP. He was obviously the Rookie of the Year that season. LeBron James, currently, his net worth is, from what I found, $500 million.
Jesus. I'm not surprised.
Has made over $1 billion in his career.
What?
Has invested and put money in different things. So, very positive, and I've always said this about LeBron James, and you can, back me on this. As much as I hate on LeBron James on the court, I really do love LeBron James and what he does off the court. Doesn't get in trouble. Is not a guy that's out there in the headlines for negativity as far as, trouble with the law and stuff like that. He does stupid crap like he did today where he's going on these rampages about the game itself. But overall, family guy, there for his kids, married to his high school sweetheart. And the biggest one for me, opened the school, the I Promise School in Akron, Ohio, where he's trying to get kids through that, underprivileged kids in there. And he's, working through the school system there. And every kid that graduates from that school gets a free ride to a college in Ohio. And I think that is absolutely spectacular. Just recently, we had the first class that was able to go.
What kind of colleges are in Ohio?
I don't know, man. But I guess he's trying to pump everything.
I guess Ohio State. Ohio State's a good one.
Yeah, now everybody's getting into Ohio State. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's LeBron James. I mean, shoot. I really feel like we don't even have to say a whole lot about LeBron James, because LeBron James is,
still playing.
He's pretty, he's still active. So, and a couple of these guys on the list are still active. So,
well, let's move on to the real name that counts here, Darko Milicic. drafted to the Detroit Pistons by way of Memphis. So he's actually pretty interesting. So he was the fourth youngest player to ever be drafted.
Mm-hmm.
He was the youngest foreign player to ever be drafted. Youngest player to ever have played in a finals game, and the youngest player to ever win an NBA championship. So, as of now, those are numbers that have not been beat.
Who
but
did he win his championship with?
With the Pistons. With the Pistons.
He was
2004.
Okay.
I mean, he's widely regarded actually as a draft bust. You would think that he wasn't, but I played for the Pistons, the Magic, the Grizzlies, the Knicks, Timberwolves, the Celtics. He had a career average of 6 points and 4 rebounds, though.
Yeah, that would make you a bust when you're sandwiched in between two greats. You know?
So he retired in 2013. He did dabble in some kickboxing once he got out of once he retired. Lost his first match by TKO. I couldn't find a whole lot on him because I think he moved back to Serbia. But I know in 2017 he owned a 125-acre apple orchard and was planning on eventually growing cherry trees. So net worth of $25 million. Not a whole lot.
$25 million. You know, it's funny because when you look at this draft, especially in the top 10, and normally you look at a draft and say what guy or what name sticks out, right, for being like the great in that draft. This one, it was so loaded that when you look at it, the one that sticks out is the bust, right?
It's the bust,
Darko.
yeah.
You look at it and you go, man, good guy. And then you look at him, you're like, which one of these guys doesn't belong?
And you look at Detroit and you're like, man, look what they could have got if they would have taken other guys we haven't talked about yet.
It's not like you picked 8 and you had to get whomever was left over. You had a very wide range of choices here. And one of which was number 3, Carmelo Anthony, the Denver Nuggets. Came out of Syracuse, 17 years in the league, still active. Did sit out a year, but he is still active. Carmelo right now is he's still with Portland. He played for the Knicks. He played for Oklahoma City. He played for Houston. He's a 10-time All-Star with a net worth of $160 million so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can see that though because he had he had a huge shoe deal going on. He had clothes for a while. The Melo stuff.
He had a shoe deal with the Jordan brand. So he's made himself some money. Interesting fact about Carmelo Anthony: he was an owner of a soccer team, and I believe that is still he's currently still the owner. It's just the league, I believe, is kind of on pause. But believe it or not, Timmy, Puerto Rico FC.
Wow, he owns
the
it.
Owner. He owns the team, and from the NASL, lower division, soccer league here in the good old US of A. But he is the owner, and I remember reading about that when it first came out, and being, impressed by that and glad about that. I mean, I don't think anybody really thinks of Puerto Rico and soccer in the same sentence, but hey. Good for him. That was definitely an interesting
and
fact about LeBron James.
Melo's a scorer, man. Anthony. He was a scorer.
Yeah. He's a guy that whenever he decided he wanted to play, I don't think there was very many people in the league that can guard.
He's like LeBron James.
The problem with Carmelo Anthony is that I think that his motor wasn't always running at 110.
Right.
There was nights where you felt like he's not going all out.
Yeah, and he got a fat paycheck the night before. He's like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, he was just fine.
Well, number 4. Yeah. This guy, I think when you're going to base it on character all around, I honestly think Chris Bosh, because I started reading into this guy, and I tell you what, say what you want about him, say that when he was in Miami and he was part of the Big 3 that he didn't matter as much, but this guy, man. So drafted to Toronto, 11-time All-Star, All-NBA, second team. Won a gold medal in the Olympics in 2008. I mean, a lot of people say that he supplanted Vince Carter as the face of the Raptors. When he left in 2010, he was a franchise leader in points, rebounds, blocks, minutes played, free throws, double. I mean, almost any statistical category in Toronto, Chris Bosh has. Ended up going to Miami to play with LeBron and D-Wade. Won two NBA Finals. Ended up starting having blood clotting conditions, which is inevitably what ended his career. They retired his jersey in Miami. And then May 15th, he was elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. So there's that. But getting into the rest of it, so Chris Bosh set up the Chris Bosh Foundation that helps youth understand the benefits of reading, which I think is awesome. He actually wrote a book called Letters to a Young Athlete that gives advice to anyone that's trying to compete at a high level, basically. He's a member of the National Society of Black Engineers. He's also part of the Dallas Association of Minority Engineers. He made appearances on Entourage, Parks and Rec. He co-produced a song with Gucci Mane called Miss My Woe. Yeah. So his net worth, I looked it up, and I mean the websites were all over the place. They had it jumping between 50 million and 90 million on what he's worth. I somewhere in the middle, $40 million difference. Not a big deal. But Chris Bosh, man, if you guys get a chance to dig into this guy a little deeper, he is quite a philanthropist, if you will.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, this is why we do it, right?
This is why we do it. Yeah.
Learn a little bit more about these guys and try to find that one nugget. This particular class, I mean, it's easy to recognize them because there is a lot of good players and a lot of these guys are still in the league. But yeah, I mean, good to hear that, guys are doing great. And he is. I remember I never really was a big Chris Bosh fan, the basketball player. Something about him, I don't know, on the court just...
There was nothing super flashy about him.
But just something that I was like, a little nagging something about him, But I always thought that he seemed like a cool dude. In every interview that I saw, he seemed pretty smooth, pretty, even-keeled. So good for him, man. I like hearing that. That these guys are using, their fame, their money for good. So I can appreciate that. Ready to move on to number 5. Number 5, teammate to Chris Bosh in Miami. And again, let's just remind folks that Darko went number 2.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade.
So we had Melo, Bosh, Wade go after Darko.
Yeah, I'm sure that Detroit is still firing people for that, just because for the hell of it. But yeah, Dwayne Wade is from Marquette. Was the 5th pick to the Miami Heat naturally. Played 16 seasons in the NBA. He's now retired. Played for Miami, for Chicago, Cleveland. Was a 13-time All-Star. 3-time NBA champion. A legit champion, may I add, right? Because
yes.
His first championship when they beat Dallas, everybody says, "Oh, but they had Shaq or whatever." Shaq was on the way. I mean, you want to talk about the back nine? I mean, he was on 18 and
This was after Orlando, after LA.
Yeah, he had like an inch putt to finish his round. I mean, he was out. And they were down in that series, and Wade put them on his back, young back, and went out there and won himself a championship for the Heat. And so I say he is a legit champion because, yes, he did win a couple of other ones with the Big Three, with Bosh, with LeBron, but he did his on his own, basically. So kudos to him for that. Worth, Timmy, $170 million.
I don't doubt it. I'm surprised it's not more because his wife, Gabrielle Union, she's got to be worth a pretty penny too.
I was going to say that. He's married to Gabrielle Union. And interesting fact about him, I think it's gone a little bit under the radar. Very recent here, though, under the radar. Dwayne Wade is a part owner of the Utah Jazz.
What?
And he is. He is.
I did not know that.
Just recently, a little over $1 billion. He and a co-investor went ahead and purchased the Jazz. And, new ownership group over there. So definitely trying to get back into the league in some way. And, so he's a part owner of the Utah Jazz. How about that?
Not a bad team to own,
Yeah. He's got some quality players over there, and
Donovan Mitchell, baby.
Oh yeah.
They're still in the playoffs. I mean, making bank right now. I like it.
Yeah. So there's Dwayne Wade.
So this is where it starts to fall off. At least for me.
Yeah.
Chris Kaman coming in number 6, drafted to the Los Angeles Clippers. one interesting thing I found out about him was he actually came into the draft a year early so that he could fund a chicken farm in his home state of Michigan. So not too many
Nice.
people know that about Chris Kaman, but
Chris.
he was
Doing the real important work.
yeah. He was a starter for the NBA Rookie All Star team. I mean, guy was a solid all around player. Nothing crazy. Averaged like 11 points, 8 rebounds, and a block per game. The biggest thing I did see on him, a lot of stuff I read was the coaches talking about his leadership, especially when he got into his veteran years. Just an amazing guy in the locker room. He's a spokesman for the diagnosis of ADHD now, which he actually was when he was still in the league too. But I guess he was misdiagnosed with ADHD when he was younger, when in reality he was just a bad kid, is what he said. He didn't actually have ADHD. He would just go and pick the shingles off his neighbor's roof because he was bored. Yeah, he's a dual citizen in the U.S. and Germany. Doesn't speak German, but since 2018 there has not really been any news on him. Net worth $30 million, not bad.
Not
you know,
bad
if
at
you
all.
compare this to NFL last year, look at the net worth, the difference.
Yeah.
Where these guys are worth
remember
like
guys like $3 million.
scraping the barrel. Yeah.
Yeah, like third pick in the draft, and they were like worth $2 million. Like, what the hell, man?
So that's it for Chris Kaman, the chicken farmer.
Chicken farmer, man, that's a great little find there. Good nugget on him. Number 7, Timmy, was a Kirk Heinrich. Remember that name?
Yeah, with the Bulls, right?
Yeah, Kirk Heinrich was the 7th overall pick to the Chicago Bulls from Kansas, and played 13 years in the league. I think at the time, because like I said, nowadays I think you're expected to go a little longer, but a 13-year career.
But
solid,
he played a full through college too. Like he came out after college.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. He did go all the way through and play. He's 38 years old. You compare him to LeBron, who didn't do the college experience, 36. I mean, it kind of makes sense, Dwayne Wade's 39. You want to talk about the full college experience?
Yeah,
I think he did all 4 years.
Yeah.
Which for him to become the star that he did, that's very uncommon, to go 4 years and become a star.
Become a star.
So,
yep.
But yeah, he 38 years old. I'm sorry, I lost my place on my sheet. Played for the Chicago Bulls, played for the Washington Wizards and Atlanta. Was all defensive team in 06-07, which is kind of crazy because I think a lot of people think of him as a shooter, but can lock it down, Interesting little fact about him, member of that 2006 FIBA World Championship team, that just had a bronze medal. I mean, really, didn't take care of business. So, not great.
I think Chris
But
Bosh might have been on
great?
that team too.
Probably. I think so. But
Yeah.
you know what is great about Kirk Heinrich? He's worth $30 million.
Not good for him.
You know what I mean? It's like 13 years.
That's why you go to college for 4 years.
$30 million. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, these guys, they find a way to keep their money and make it work for them. So kudos to him.
Yeah.
Number 7, Kirk Heinrich.
Well, my last two here, man. There's not going to be a lot to say about him. Number 8, T.J. Ford, drafted to the Milwaukee Bucks. This guy basically was hampered his entire career with back injuries. Averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, which isn't bad. Started the T.J. Ford Foundation that helps people achieve their academic, personal, and civil goals. Net worth $18 million. Not bad for a guy that you don't really know too much about. But I mean, I couldn't find anything about. I mean, T.J. Ford. I don't know. What's he doing now? Who knows?
Yeah, well, hopefully he's still leading that foundation and doing good. But good for him. Number 9, Mike Sweetney. A name that I'm sure many people are going, who?
Georgetown great.
38 years old from Georgetown. The 9th pick to the Knicks. I'm sure that the Knicks fans that year when they picked him up said just the same. A very, very short-lived career, Timmy. We want to talk about 13 years for Heinrich, 16 years for some of these other guys, 17 years for Melo. He's still playing. LeBron, 17 years in the league. Mike Sweetney, 4 years in the league, Tim. 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. For being a top 10 pick, 4 years in the league. played for the Knicks and the Bulls, 2 years apiece. $5 million is what he's worth. I mean, I guess that's expected, right? I mean, 4 years.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Five. And is currently the assistant basketball coach for Yeshiva University in New York.
Oh, I was like, where the hell is that?
Yeah. So, Mike Sweetney, very low key doing his thing, I guess, with his $5 million.
Oh, Mike. And number 10. Are we on number 10?
Number 10.
10. Wrapping it up. Jarvis Hayes. Drafted to the Washington Wizards. Averaged 8 points, 3 rebounds per game. This guy just did not work out in the league. From what I read, he was a better coach than he was a player. He's currently an assistant coach with the Georgia State Panthers. Did some playing overseas. Net worth $4 million. So there's Jarvis Hayes. But what I did want to go over with the top 10, now that we finished it, is guys that you would have taken in this draft that went after the top 10 over Darko Milicic. Okay, so here's some names for you. Nick Collison, who went number 12. Luke Ridnour. David West, who was a beast of a power forward. He went 18. Boris Diaw at 21.
Wow.
Kendrick Perkins at 27. Okay. Another big one. Leandro Barbosa, who not a lot of people remember, but he was actually pretty solid.
He was a little engine that could.
Yeah. And let's see, who else we got? We got anybody else in here that was worth mentioning?
You got Mikel Petrus went in there. I think he was somewhere 11 or 12. Air France people.
Jaja Pachulia. Jaja, dude.
I mean, you want to talk about loaded draft?
Kyle Korver was in there.
I mean, you had some dudes in there, man. Some guys that played good quality years in the league, and Detroit found a way to screw it up, Detroit.
That is like
Pistons were.
That is glaring
like
to
the
me.
Cleveland Browns, for some years,
yes.
Of the NBA, just making stupid decisions, one right after the other, similar to the Knicks. But hey, speaking of the Pistons, former Piston coach Stan Van Gundy, after one season with the Pelicans, was let go today. I don't know if you heard.
Is he going back to Orlando?
I don't know, but I am going to touch on the Orlando situation here very shortly. Another coach that was let go today was Scotty Brooks from with the Washington Wizards. So they couldn't come to terms, so he is out. Also in the NBA with the Celtics, Danny Ainge stepped down.
Wow.
Between our last gig and today, so we didn't talk about that, but they have now moved their head coach. For whatever reason, I'm blanking on his name, Brad Stevens. They moved Brad Stevens over to the front office now, and he's going to be running the show. Danny Ainge is out, and they're on the search for a head coach as well, which leads me into something I text you about.
Yes.
Is the NBA, Timmy, ready for a female head coach? Because there's a couple of names out there that, in my opinion, just basketball-wise, I feel like they're good fits to be coaches, right? But so much of this doesn't have to do with how good you are as a coach or who you can lead or you can't lead, but more so on your gender, right? We have Becky Hammon and Kara Lawson, who are both, from my understanding, from what I've heard, very good coaches, more than capable of leading any program. And Kara Lawson is now being put out there as potentially being a head coach candidate for the Celtics. She was an assistant there with Brad Stevens, if my memory serves me right, and she's being talked as somebody who could potentially replace him there. And Becky Hammon interviewed, I believe, with the Portland Trail Blazers. Was it yesterday? It might have been the day before. And I believe she's in line to interview for the Orlando Magic job. Our local team here. What are your thoughts on where we stand as a society, as the NBA, as sports fans, on seeing a female coach in a male sport?
Well, of the big three, I think the NBA is the only one that would be able to do it in a fluid motion, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
There would be a lot less, not hype, there'd be a lot of hype around it, but a lot less upheaval, I guess. Um,
And Timmy, I'll interrupt you real quick. And I mean this in the sense of a head coach, right? Because
right,
both
right,
of
right.
these gals have been assistant coaches, and the NFL has female assistant coaches as well. So I'm speaking about head coaching position.
Well, I mean, it's tough because it almost, and the way that people look at it, I'm trying to be a non-biased person and be biased at the same time, where you have to understand and be the devil's advocate and know how it's going to be perceived, because perception is everything. And you know, as much as I hate to say it, a lot of the world views women as weaker than men, whether it comes to physically, whether it comes to personality wise. And when it comes down to sports, understanding the game, it's the same game, regardless of what gender you are. If you're playing in the WNBA or the NBA, the game is still the same. You dribble, you pass, you shoot. That's what you do. And but then it gets down to, okay, experience. What do we have? You know, because you do see a lot of guys that come out of the NBA and become head coaches, and you know they've been there, and you know they've been in those situations. They know tendencies of guys and this and that. And I think that's the question I would have is, how familiar is she, whoever the she is, with the league and the teams and the players, and how comfortable does she know their tendencies and these other coaches? Because a lot of these coaches, it's a revolving door. They know how this coach coaches. You know, they've been coaching against each other for years. And you bring in this new person who hasn't been around as much, and understanding that. And the biggest thing is, I think, the personality. Like I said, when you go with a male coach with an all male team,
Yeah.
there's it's different than having a a female coach with all male team. I think the players would end up being more empathetic to the situation, and will that hinder them? I don't know. And like I said, I'm just being realistic in how I would be if I was in a situation, because even like in a work situation, if you're a guy and you work with all guys, it's completely different than if you're a guy and you work with all females and you're the only guy. You're a different person. You know what I mean? You act differently. So that would be the biggest thing. I don't think it would be an issue. I'm not against it. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know where I've been thinking about this, right? Because I've been a Becky Hammon fan for quite some time as a player. I've enjoyed seeing her come through. If you're gonna have the support of anybody in the league, who better, to have the support of than Greg Popovich, who's probably the most respected coach in the NBA, right?
Right.
Arguably. And he definitely, stands by her and behind her and says, hey, green light for sure. She deserves it. She's a great coach, so much so that she is a basically an assistant head coach to him for the most part. I mean, when he gets thrown out of games, the person who he has the
Yeah.
clipboard over to is her.
Well, and Orlando
She
has a young
runs,
team too. That would be perfect for
yeah,
her.
yeah. She runs, their D League or their preseason team. When we have the preseason. So she played at a high level. Definitely knows the game. Carol Lawson is on the same boat. Um, my fear, though, Tim, is you talked about perception, and it's my fear with this situation, right? Is the fact that our front office is going to look at it and say, these young men, how are they going to react to a female coach, and will we start seeing guys not want to come to our organization because we have a female head coach?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it will take an organization that is very well put together, an organization that is that the players respect the front office, to a point where when they make a decision to bring in a coach, regardless of who it is, that they're going to trust that front office and say, you know what, they've done it well in the past. We're just going to have to trust them now. While I would love to see Becky Hammon be the head coach of the Orlando Magic, because I do think that she's going to be a hell of a coach. I fear that our front office hasn't had great, they've made some missteps here and there, and I don't know how much confidence everybody has in them around the league. And I fear that guys will be immature enough and dumb enough to keep themselves away from an Orlando Magic team and organization that already struggles, even when they're good, to bring in guys and to retain guys, as to use that as one more excuse to say, no, we're not going there. But even with all that being said, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to see Becky Hammon here in Orlando. I think you hit the nail on the head. We have a very young team here locally that I think that she can definitely get through to. And I think that she'll do great. And Carol Lawson, I think, has the respect of a lot of the people within the Celtics organization. I think if she goes and if she becomes a coach there, I think that the guys there will respect the heck out of her. And I think they'll play hard for them. So for me, I'm ready to see it. I don't know what everybody else out there is. I'm ready to see it. Now, is it going to happen? That I don't know. I don't know if society-wise, if we're ready to see that happen. And when I say we, I'm not including me in that we, because I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I think those gals are deserving of it. They put in their time, and I think they know what the heck they're doing, and I think they deserve a shot.
Well, and I think, like I said, and I think if one of them ended up in Orlando, I think this is the perfect city to have that happen, because we are such a melting pot of different, races and genders and thoughts and religions and ideas, and we've got Disney and everybody from the world wants to come here, and for that to be, it would almost be like another beacon for people, and I think it would. Yeah. I think it would grow our fans on a national basis. Anytime you see something like that, you start to tend to see a lot of the females flock towards that, if it makes sense. They rally behind it, and I think that's good for Orlando, and especially if they can win. And I think a lot of it would have to be an understanding of, and it's tough because the coach is supposed to be your tunnel between the GM and the players. So that's where the tough thing is with the front office, because it's not like you have a female GM. Like, at the end of the day, the coach is the one who's supposed to keep the players in line. And if you don't have the respect of the coach, that's the hard thing. But I think if they can get behind her and want to win for her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be the best case scenario.
Right, and winning is the cure-all, right? I mean,
that's it. I mean, all you got, if you're winning, nobody cares what you are.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. You're winning. And it doesn't become a problem until the W's aren't coming up. And, So, yeah, I wanted to pick your brain on that a little bit because, we have, the NBA is not over just yet. So I don't think anybody's going to get hired really just now. But another name for the Magic, just to throw it in there, too, that was that I've heard been thrown out around is Jason Kidd.
J-Kidd, baby.
Jason, he was a coach for the Bucks, and this front office that we have here in Orlando was the Bucks front office that drafted Giannis and put together that team for the most part. So doesn't surprise me to see that name be one of the ones that comes up for the Orlando job. But we'll see. We'll follow it along. I mean, it is our local team, and I just want to follow along and see what happens there with these ladies and see if they get an opportunity. So. I do want to kind of finish this off here because time flies for us, man.
Yeah.
We
I just saw that too.
It just goes by. But I do want to finish something off, and I was going to try to pull up the story, but I just kind of have some of the details, and it really doesn't matter the guy per se, but just the details of the story. So we talked about Christian Eriksen, whom had his unfortunate, event happen over the weekend with Denmark, and like I said, legit die on the field, and the medical staff and other personnel had to rush over there, and thankfully they were able to bring him back to life. There's a gentleman that is serving a life sentence. I don't know if you heard about the story. So, Timmy, my man is serving a life sentence. He dies in jail, and for several minutes, it is my belief, and is brought back to life, but was legit dead.
Served your time.
That's his argument.
Yeah.
I should be a free man. My sentence is a death sentence, or life in prison, and I died. That I was brought back several minutes later.
I'm fully behind that. I am fully behind that. I will write a letter for this guy because that's legit argument right there.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, what's your take on serving a life sentence, dying in jail for several minutes, coming back to life? Should you be a free man, Timmy?
Yes, I would argue that all day. I think that's a valid argument. I think if you have a good enough attorney, you could definitely. I mean, you don't even need to be a good attorney. I could probably get this guy off on this. Because I mean, I don't know. I agree. I think he should be let go, just for the sake that he has no business. He's not even. I mean, it depends on what he did though, too. I guess I should look into that. If he's serving a life sentence, I mean, it's probably something pretty bad. Unless it was something
Yeah.
40 years ago when it
Yeah.
was like, oh, he committed 3 felonies, he had a bag of weed on him 3 times, and now he's in prison for life. That's a little different.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to find the story here. I mean, he was claiming that he died and came back. I mean, it looks like it was. This story is a couple years old, so I guess there's been several instances of this happening. I'm curious why I haven't heard about this before. But yeah, for this particular case, this guy committed murder. Or no, he was a convicted murderer and collapsed in his prison cell. Um, and the doctors, restarted his heart 5 times.
Jesus.
I mean, so he was technically dead and, brought back to life. I tend to agree with you and to agree, unfortunately, with a convicted felon that they have served their time.
Yeah, it's a valid argument.
You died, and you were told that you needed to serve your sentence until you died. You were brought back to life. I mean, you did your time. You died.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Jon Snow died, and he served his time on the wall, and he was able to leave. Unscathed. So.
That would be my argument right there. Like Game of Thrones.
Your Honor, I present to you Exhibit 1, Jon Snow. Oh man, so yeah, that was my I thought that was funny, and but then I got to thinking, and I was like, man, does this man have a point? He did die, he came back, and he served his time.
I'm with you on that. I would agree with that, but we got to get out of here, guys. It's Wednesday. Yeah. It's past our bedtimes right now. We've got what do we got coming up? We got anything coming up this week? I know it's Father's Day. Make sure you guys don't forget. Take care of the pops, man. Take care of the guys that created you. If you don't have a dad, take care of your mom. Okay, do something like that. I know there's a lot of hoopla right now, a lot of negativity about the whole Father's Day thing and wanting to ban it because it's sexist or whatever. Guys, that's got nothing to do with us. That's got nothing to do with the sidelines. Okay, we take care of the guys that take care of us. So I'll be out there. I'm gonna play a little golf. Probably call my stepdad and make sure he's doing good. And I know we got Poppy that we owe most of our early 20s to for taking care of us back in the day. Yeah. Yeah, other than that, man, I think we're gonna have a good time next week. We'll see you guys. We're gonna get some more going. 2004 NFL draft.
NFL draft.
That was the year I graduated, so this is gonna be a big one.
Yeah.
So
and to bring you back to some days,
So we'll get back on it. Make sure we gotta touch base. Make sure you hit up next week. Write it down because you forgot to do it tonight. The Netflix series you were talking about.
Yes.
Yep. So we'll hit that next week. But other than that, guys,
will hit that up. Yes.
Keep smiling, keep shining, keep doing the things you're doing, and we will see you guys on the sideline.